Hey, board gamers, BJ, we'll Game Gumbo here, back in Gumbo Pop with another unboxing. This time we're taking a look at Dirt and Dust, a new racing game, a new rally racing game from ALBI Games. Let's get right to that Game Toppers LLC table and see what's inside this box. All right, we're looking at Dirt and Dust by Petr Kaslava, and with art from Jacob Pulitzer. This is published by ALBI Games. We're doing an Envoy splash of this in October, so if you're seeing this video and you want to come check it out, get to your friendly local game store, and you'll see an Envoy Herald probably doing or scheduling a demo of it at your store. So check it out. I'll be doing mine in October. This was on one of my lists for the Gen Con or us, I can't remember. I think it had a Gen Con release, and then it's also going to be out there at Essen Spiel. I also have not played the game yet, even though Logan's played it, and I'm dying to play it. But I checked out Paul Grogan's excellent tutorial, which you can find on YouTube. So check out Gaming Rules. Paul does a fantastic job of giving you a good overview of how the game is played, and he actually does a full playthrough. So I'll go through with what I can. It's a rally racing game. Throws you into the high-octane world of rally racing where strategy meets speed. What I like about this is it's got deck building and a little bit of chance and luck with the dice rolling. But the more dangerous, the more you want to drive, you can take these hazard dice, which is going to potentially cause you to take some damage, but also gives you some boosts. So it's got a nice little mix of some engine building, some dice rolling, and a deck building mechanic. I also like the way the deck building mechanic works in that you're buying cards and your hand can stay the same, or you could discard cards at the end of each turn. So you're not necessarily just playing cards like a Clank or Dominion and then discarding at the end, even though there might be some cards you can't really use. So that's kind of a nice thing to it. So, all right, this is got a good visual setup here with pictures. This is how the game itself is set up. I like the fact that it's organized by numbers, lots of pictures, description of the components. Each player is going to get a little, kind of like a control board, which shows you your wrench, i.e. The money that you use to buy new cards or to manipulate stuff on your board, and or you can get some hazard dice, if I remember right. And then, of course, your traction. So, and then the damage track at the bottom. You'll also each get a racing board that's going to show your draw deck, and then as you play cards out, then they'll slide down and they get discarded. And then there's the big stage board. The race, just like any rally race, it comes in stages as you climb up the mountain and go around in the dirt. And so you can try to pre-plan with your navigator, throwing out some cubes to say, okay, I'm gonna try to score points on that particular stage. So, all right, then we got into the gameplay. Too much for to read all this out here on the stream. And then I think it's got a solo mode if I read that. Yeah, each player, by the way, there's 4 that comes with the base game, 4 different decks. So and each one plays a little bit differently. I read a review, and the reviews suggest that that's one of the highlights of the game is the fact that each one kind of looks at things differently. Maybe one is a little bit more traction, the other one is trying to get popularity. So that's pretty neat. I think there is a solo mode in here. I'll have to keep looking for it. But you know what? We'll leave that for you to discover on your own. Well, I might be streaming this a little bit later. But okay, let's check out the punch board. I don't remember ever owning. I played ALBI games before at BGCon. I don't remember owning one, so just can't remember. But we'll see. It's my first experience, I think, in punching. Oh wow! Look how easy that punches out. That is super easy. We do have to build the little dials, but I'm an unmatched fan, so I'm practically an expert at building those things. These are the damage tokens, and they'll start gray when you start the game, and then as you take more damage from left to right, you flip those over. And they're gonna affect your board a little bit. So, and of course, if you take too much damage, if I remember right from Paul's commentary, that can knock you out of the game. So, all right, so that punches out. Oh man, this is just super easy to punch out. Okay, well, I'm not gonna punch out all these things on the stream. I'll get that later because I want to dive into this thing. All right, then we got the big board, and let's see, double flip like this. Okay. Yeah, all right, so yeah, so this is the stages, the rally right here. and they're going to line them up here, and I guess they'll shift off as we go through the rally. The game, if I remember right, is 10 turns, and it may be shorter if you're doing the tutorial one. I can't remember that. There is a tutorial which, if you do go to the friendly local game stores for the decks, for the Envoy splashes, those are going to probably be the tutorial, because that's what ALBI Games recommends that we do. So, and then of course the score track there. All right. A ton of wooden pieces. All right, in all the different colors. All right, so we've got, yeah, all the different colors. These are going to be, if I remember right, these are the navigation tokens that you can throw onto the pieces, to the stages. Sorry. Wow, that was not very smart. So I'll just dump those up. Really nice looking, nice wooden pieces that are already screen printed, so we don't have to worry about stickering them. And then we've got the little markers for the actual. These are nicer than what I saw. Paul must have been using more of a prototype thing, because these actually have little cars and everything are screen printed, and little damage tokens. Okay, these are really nice looking. All 4 of the different colors. Okay, like that. And of course, we got 2 different sets of dice. We got the player dice, and each player is going to start out with 3 dice, and they'll be rolling those at the start of each turn. It's called the the dice rolling section. And depending on the numbers, I don't really know a lot. But depending on the numbers, they do something. That's something I'm going to have to find out. So, but we have the other dice too. We've got the hazard dice. I think that's what these are. Yeah, there we go. So we got some hazard dice. The red ones, I'm not sure. I don't know what these dice are. I'm going to have to find out. So if I figure it out, I'll put it in the comments below. But these are the hazard dice, and as you can see, we've got everything from just blank, which is good, right? Because when you take the benefit of getting, and you have to, whatever the benefit is that gives you the hazard dice, you got to roll it right away, and then apply whatever that roll is to your board. So hopefully it's going to be a nothing, big old nothing burger, but it could be a 1 or even as much as a 3 or 4, or something even worse. So you got to worry about these dice. The worst thing is when you grab them and you put them on your player board, they're there for you each round. So the next round, now instead of rolling just 3 dice, you also rolling that hazard dice you got. And if you have multiple hazard dice, you got to roll those too. So, being risky and taking the hazard dice, I think, is going to be important if you want to get ahead in the game, because you got to get that pedal to the metal. But it also means you're going to be taking lots of damage, or potentially taking lots of damage. Okay, let's take a quick peek at the player board, and then I'll spy out some cards for you. Player board, super simple, right? We've got your deck, cards as they get played. This is where the numbers go, and you can shift up and down your dice by using wrenches. So that's another use for the wrenches, besides using the wrenches to buy cards and do other stuff to manipulate your luck. And then, of course, when your cards get shifted over, because each round your cards are going to shift down, and then you go to the X. So good time to take a look at the cards themselves. By the way, really cool insert. I don't know what Logan said about this insert, but this, I'm liking it. I just want a quick peek at the cards. Yep. Oh, clips, clippity clips for making the board, for making the little player dials. We'll have to put that in like that. And yeah, it's a good example of how the cards are going to be laid out with your deck, and then your player, your kind of control with the traction and with the traction and with the wrenches, and the stages, the different stages that come up with the special powers. When you claim that stage, if you can claim that stage, you can get a little bonus special power. Lots of different things going on here. That first game, you want to stick to that tutorial, is what we've been told, because it just doesn't play like other racing / deck building games that we've seen before, like a Heat, or playing a game, any other type of racing games. So I'm trying to think of the one from Restoration Games. All right, so let's look at some of these cards here, and then we'll get started. All right, so these are the cards that you can buy, and you're going to want A cards, and to start the game, you'll probably want to use the A deck, and it's got numbers on the bottom, so you're going to want some 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, all the way to 9, if I remember right. Yep, all the way to 9. And then it's got the cost of them. It's got the different costs at the top here. This one only costs 1 wrench. This costs 3 wrenches, but it's got all kind of cool special powers. Some of them actually give you points at the end of the game. Like this one right here. This base one of 1 doesn't, but this 3 that you buy, it's also going to give you a point. Anytime you see that little checkered flag, that's a point. Okay, so that's the set of cards that you can buy during the game. We'll look at the stages real quick. I forgot. I have that at night, unfortunately. I forget. I do these unboxings. Okay, just want to look at these cards real quick. So, yeah, 2, 3. So I think you always play it in order, right, to 10. And then I guess there are different races that it comes with. Interesting. Okay. For sure, I know that you're going to play 10 cards. So that's what these are. And you'll play them out in order. And the order is set by the numbers on the bottom. So that is very cool. Just all that in there. Okay. Let's see what must be the decks. Yeah, let's see what this is. So, a quick look. I do like the fact that it's very, so far it's been easy to pop these decks open. It's nice. Because I just don't always remember to have my little back tool. All right, so we start out with a little player handbook, a little player guide, a little player aid. It goes through the 4 phases of the game. Rolling your dice, driving it, which you do simultaneously. Although for our Envoy demos, we're going to be doing them each person at a time until we feel comfortable with the game. Then the stage evaluation, we're looking at the stage of the race and see who qualified for it, and then there could be some things that happen because of that. And then the prep phase for the next round, that's where cards are going to be sliding down and you're going to be doing some discarding. So nice to have a nice little cheat sheet there. I don't know what this is. Maybe something for the solo, I'm not sure. All right, here we go. This is Harry Jordan's cards. He's one of the decks in the game. So he'll start out with 5 of his cards and then 5 standard cards. Similar to regular deck builder, plus, like if you have a deck builder that has, like Lost Ruins of Arnak, where you start out, if you play the leaders, you're going to start out with a few cards that are, that are geared toward your strategy. So this is Sofia Fernandez, okay? Aiko Yamamoto, and Ferenc Kovac. I have no idea if I'm butchering these names, but that's the 4 characters that you start with. Hey, a game like this, there's got to be, or I didn't even look at BGG, but I'm sure there's plenty of more expansions out there. So, and then we've got more cards. So I'm assuming that these are your base cards everybody plays with: the prepared, the on the road, tightening the screws, and engine tuning. I'm guessing that's what that is. Seems reasonable. All right, we got one more deck that we're going to look at, and then I will let you get on your merry way. I know you're probably watching the Ryder Cup right now. Okay, so what we got? More cards you can buy. Oh, nice. More cards you can buy. These are the yellow 8s. And then that's a lot of cards. Oh, no, sorry. Not 8s. These are Bs. Okay, so we've got a set of B cards, and we've got a set of A cards for you to play with. So that's pretty slick. All right, I like the fact that it's got all these starting player powers. If Jared were around, he would tell you that's one of the things that we like is playing games that have special player powers. All right, board gamers, that's everything you get in the box of Dirt and Dust, one of my anticipated games for, I think it was Gen Con, but of course, you can also get it at Essen if you go to Essen Spiel. Lucky enough for you, Envoy is running splashes, in other words, some demos at printed local game stores all over the United States. I'll be at one at our local game store here in Lafayette if you want to come by and hang out with us. It'll either be at Anubis or I think it's going to be at Anubis. So come to Anubis Game and Hobby and check it out in October if you want to play it. Or just hit me up and me or Logan or somebody else can teach the game for you. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know how to play it yet, Although Paul Grogan had a great instructional video, I just kind of watched the setup and the base part. But I do like the fact that it's deck building and it's got some little twists to that mechanic. And I love the fact that it includes dice, ways to mitigate the dice, but ways to make your car drive a little bit more dangerously. And if you're riding on that high side, you're going to take some more chances with the dice that you get. So I like the combination of everything here. This one of the reasons why I was put on my list is because it looks like just a cool twist on the racing mechanic. Till next time, vas-y avec bon temps roulé.